Welcome to The Weekly Trend, a podcast for navigating the markets through the lens of technical analysis. The Weekly Trend podcast is provided for educational purposes only and does not constitute any professional advice. Listeners should not act upon the information or content without first seeking advice from a registered financial planner.
Welcome back to the Weekly Trend podcast. Today is April 24th, 2026. S&P sitting at 7,140. My name is Ian McMallen, and today joined by Kevin Ferrari. Solid week, Kevin. Solid week.
Yeah, you can't argue with the green week, right?
Yeah, well, solid week for tech stocks.
Yeah.
Which I guess is good that the S&P is heavily weighted towards tech. And when we say tech, we kind of mean semiconductors.
Yeah, it's really the semiconductor show for the most part. I mean, even just within technology itself.
Not a lot else things holding up, but I wouldn't say things running away. Tech and semiconductors. I think XLK got new relative highs today. So, yeah, abrupt move. I see that a lot. People throw out these stats. Oh, XLK's up 16 days in a row. It's not. I'm pretty sure people say that about the S&P too. It's up a lot. It's not up 16 days in a row. I mean, XLK was, you know what? I might be eating some crow here. Is that we were down yesterday. We were red yesterday slightly. But yeah, it's been a move.
Yeah, it's been quite the run. And I mean, well, maybe not necessarily. I mean, as far as what's the term, like contribution wise, I mean, obviously semiconductors by far. But I mean, like I guess the other tech theme is memory and storage. Two is still doing pretty well. I mean, not necessarily, I don't think to the same degree as semiconductors by any means, but, you know, and I guess those two are probably somewhat related, right? But yeah, it's definitely on the
We just got
semiconductor front.
What, 6 months? I mean, so yeah, it's been a move, but then 6 months return in tech is 4%.
All right.
So in that context, we're just getting above Halloween, the Halloween, pre-Halloween highs, which we've talked about on a lot of charts, a lot of client newsletters. I think people get frustrated when the right side of that consolidation is not a nice, beautiful, rounded advancement, and it's just a ripper. That's tough to get on those. It's tough to get on semiconductors 2 weeks ago. Tough to get on a week ago. I mean, if I told you to buy semiconductors a week ago, last Friday, on the gap higher, that would have been tough.
Yeah. What, SMH,
but you're,
like 18 to 20% from its...
Yeah, SMH was up another 9.5% this week.
And like stocks, like one that we've been paying attention to more here recently, up even more than that. But I mean, that's the thing is though, right? Like NVIDIA, assuming we close somewhere around here where it is today, near 210, I mean, that would be an all-time closing high. I mean, it's really just clearing highs today. TSM, same thing, clearing like 388.
Yeah.
Micron kind of in the same boat, just getting out to all-time highs. I guess a couple days ago it kind of did, but it's still pretty tight to those for the most part. So they're
talks about AMD.
Like there's some big, AMD. Like AMD, that one would be tough.
Probably, what was the one? Oh, AMAT. AMAT's the one.
Yeah.
I mean, you could. Yeah.
So there's a lot of your bigger individual semi names that you could still jump on, but like if you're trying to buy outside of AMD, like broad semiconductors, I mean, that would be tough. But then you ask yourself the question if, NVIDIA, TSM, Micron, AMAT, if all these individual names are just kind of clearing previous highs, I mean, can you really feel bad about semiconductors broadly speaking? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, if NVIDIA...
I wouldn't think so.
If NVIDIA sticks this and we stay above 208, whatever this is up in here, 207.
Mhm.
It's not bad. Yeah, I mean, this is not.
No.
It's not something where you can turn away and well, yeah, semiconductors have been good because Nvidia's up 42% this month.
Yeah, I mean, it would. If you look at just like SMH stocks, like some of those broad semi funds, like I feel like it might be a little misleading. Or, well, how could it possibly continue this run? But then you start, looking at those names we just mentioned, and then you can make the case there's definitely still room to roll. Now, I guess, right when you start looking outside of semis and tech, I mean, maybe that's where you start to be a little bit more skeptical. But
Is there anything that is at the top of the list for you when it comes to, we'll call them orange flags?
I mean, well, like Meg's still kind of. Well, I mean, Meg's had a good run
It did.
here, but yeah, kind of struggling a little bit with some of these levels from like fall of last year, like January of this year.
Yeah, other than
Fang's
Amazon, we
kind of
don't
the
really
same
have a
deal,
lot of
right?
big
Yeah, like
movers there.
discretionary, broadly speaking, kind of never really even tested previous highs. That kind of got XLY turned back around.
Yeah,
Like
Tesla
122.
below a 200-day is not helping. Tesla
Mhm.
just cannot. Yeah, 410's a big level on Tesla.
Mhm.
I'd throw XLP versus Staples. Were you saying this morning to top
Yeah,
two
sectors this week.
sectors for the week or year to date?
This week.
For this
Yeah,
week
well, let's
was
look at
what? Tech and
Yep,
Staples?
which is probably not what you would expect.
It's not. So we're not in like full risk on mode.
Well, actually, I mean, Staples basically, I guess energy is this week outperforming Staples.
Okay.
Kind of missed that in there, but
With Staples up,
yeah, kind of utilities basically flat.
yeah, nothing in discretionary top 10 looks better than Amazon. Yeah, that's really. I feel like there was one more in there that looks okay, but I mean, all of them just look blah. Disney. Can't believe Disney's still in the top 10.
No, maybe not for much longer, I guess. But I mean, you mentioned like the staple or the discretionary staples relative chart. I mean, that, where that kind of started turning back is kind of an interesting level. Kind of the highs we saw from like end of 21 and like beginning of, kind of end of 24, beginning of last year. It's kind of roughly where that.
Well, Dave likes to use eco-light discretionary and Staples, and yeah, that's getting rid of Jeff. I mean, it doesn't look a ton better. Starbucks pretty bad. The hotel stocks have still been strong. In fact, I think Disney did drop out of the top. Or Disney is in XLY, right?
Maybe I'm making that up. Let's find out.
It's not in XLK, is it?
No.
No, it can't be. Yeah, Lamb Research is number 10. Anyways, it might have fallen out. It might have been replaced by Marriott.
Oh, Disney's and communication services.
I didn't see.
Where to throw that in there.
Okay.
So that's like,
Also not a very,
depending on.
not a very hot sector.
No. Depending on how you, I guess I always just combine the Google shares as just kind of treat them as one. So like Disney would be, like fourth, I guess, in the top 5, which, bringing up communication services, I guess, I mean, that's one that really doesn't have a very good look at all.
XLC
Really
new
just-
relative lows. Never got to new highs.
Yeah.
Got rejected a bunch up here at like 119. Never really got above a relative 200-day. Yeah, that's a tough look.
And like Charter, so CHTR is, I think, like the 5th holding as far as size. And like that's getting hit pretty hard. With the earnings today, it's down like 23%. So that's obviously not helping.
And Netflix went right out to the 200-day, got rejected. Now wrong. I don't know. Maybe we're
Google's holding
pricing
up
in
well.
no more need for communication services.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, telecom's still holding up all right. Like XTL,
That is a good
which
call.
is
Telecom very strong. 6G. Is that like a semiconductor thing?
let's see. Yeah, so like semiconductors are like just a hair over 25% of 6G.
Okay.
It's pretty good weighting.
Yeah, some good stuff in there. Planet Labs.
But yeah,
like
I mean,
spacey satellite. type things.
Right.
Sats has been a good stock.
Yeah, I feel like thematically, it's been pretty consistent. Areas that are outperforming or that were outperforming before kind of picked up where they left off with like semi storage. You brought up like your satellite stuff and comm services with a little bit of your more traditional telecom, which is kind of an interesting flavor. But
About
I mean, financials with kind of a rough look. Really haven't been able to get it going. I mean, earlier this week, really over the last 2 weeks, probably. I mean, like a lot of your larger banks, I think had pretty interesting looks. I mean, pretty good approaches to like previous highs, but they just really, for the most part, haven't been able to clear them. I mean, Citi Bank did, and that's held so far. What is that? Like 124 or something like that on Citi. It's held so far. But like Goldman Sachs really hasn't been able to clear previous
JP
highs.
Morgan that hasn't even gotten close.
Nah, didn't even really get close. No. Wells Fargo lagging behind even JP Morgan. Not really a good look for them. And I mean, outside of like your larger banks, I guess like a handful of your investment managers like Morgan Stanley weren't doing too bad. But even there, they're kind of pausing here at previous highs. Some of your like brokers or exchanges, things like that, like CBOE, CBOE cleared their previous all-time highs for a day and then kind of pulled back a little bit. I mean, that rate of trend's still intact. I mean, I think they're fine.
Yeah, what about like ICE? How's ICE doing?
CME really doesn't look very good.
What about foreign? Anything going on foreign?
Yeah, I mean, kind of seems to be your Asia flavor, I guess, with like, well, obviously TSM for Taiwan. Samsung doing fine, so Korea looks good.
So you need to know, right?
Outside of
Samsung
that,
looks good, so I guess we're in the clear.
I mean, Latin America, like a few weeks ago, was kind of the area of strength. Is like some of that stuff in Asia kind of cooled off, but really that has kind of pulled back really across the board, like Mexico, Brazil. I mean, Argentina really, I don't think really ever got it going to a large degree. I mean, like 97 for Argentina was a pretty important level, got rejected there. So yeah, I mean, like emerging markets, looking like we might maybe get a new closing high. I guess we'll have to see. It's kind of right there, around $64. But yeah, definitely more of an Asian tilt there for sure.
Yeah, when I pull up the heat map on FinViz, not an advertisement, and look at 1 week performance, I mean, it's semis, electric vehicles, which really is, they have I'm on the thematic heat map, 1 week performance, chips, so really just semiconductors and cars. Cybersecurity has been okay. Hardware has been good. Everything else, as you mentioned, energy has been green this week. Solar, renewable energy continues to be pretty solid. And fans and PBWs. I think that's the other clean energy one is PBW.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple of those in there, like ICLN, VCLN.
Yeah. Other than that, there's a lot of
pick.
red on the map for the week.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty concentrated as far as things
Software still hasn't
moving
gotten
higher this week for sure. No, that's pretty disappointing, and especially where they turn that back. Using like IGV 8875 basically, which is, if you look at, it was a pretty important level from 23 through like the first half of 24, even leading into 25 a little bit, like even back to end of 2021. That was a pretty important level. So
can't do it. Now you got a 200-day roll. I mean, we're stacking up the headwinds here, software. Yeah, not a great week outside of semiconductors and then the little ripple effects off of that. Artificial intelligence shows a theme on this map. Mixed week. Some areas up big, some areas down.
Right. Yeah, Chad holding up pretty well, but that's the thing too, right? Semi is a pretty big part of that.
Well, look at this stupid cars ETF, CARZ,
Yeah.
that's just ripping. Well, do you think, when you go through charts, do you see any automobile makers that look good? No. But
Mm-mm.
you've got this cars ETF, which, and we've known this for a while, but you go and you want, how's this doing so good? Well, it's just it's like that Scooby Doo meme where they take the mask off. Turns out this is just a semiconductor fund. Says future vehicles and technology, but very heavy on the technology semiconductor piece. Pretty sure they changed the name of that too to be more futuristic sounding.
Mm.
Probably so. Well, we can't just own Ford and GM and Toyota. These stocks suck.
Really traditional auto manufacturers, yeah, really don't look
I
too
mean, look,
good.
Samsung. Samsung is the top holding. Samsung, Taiwan Semi, Micron, AMD, Apple, Nvidia, Google, and then at holding number 8, you get your first car company, Tesla.
Which we already talked about. Not the greatest look there either.
Look. No.
Mhm.
You don't want to look at the other ones. I guess GM is above 200 day, but
But even just kind of interesting, O'Reilly's when you think automotive like car parts, O'Reilly's kind of cooled off, which that thing just did nothing but go
and
up.
that's also an XLY. That's like number 8 or number 9.
AutoZone usually tracks pretty close to that.
The Napa. What's the Napa one?
GPC.
Genuine
Yeah.
Parts.
And like PAG, Penske Automotive Group, when the car parts and like automotive was doing well a while back, that was another one. I mean, that one's basically been in a range for, I don't know, 3 years.
We lost our industrials too. Industrials are, not struggling. They have not got to new highs yet. Is XLK the only sector to reach new absolute highs?
I think it has to be, right? I mean, I can't think of what.
Nothing out. XLB might be close. No, it's really not. XLC was close and got rejected.
Couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it.
Right. And that really everything else kind of fell short.
Man.
Because, I mean, yeah, like healthcare looks rough. We were kind of talking about before this, like biotech really hasn't capitalized. I mean, well, it kind of depends on the time frame you're looking at it, I guess. I mean, XBI was probably the best biotech or the best looking biotech fund out there.
Yeah, that's true, of the broad ones.
I guess if you focus kind of more near term, holding like 131, 132 so far today, which is good to see. But I mean, there's definitely some chop to the left from some post-COVID highs in 2021. It's kind of like some of those highs from 2020, 2021, like late in the year of 2020. It's kind of where it's struggling here a little bit. So, I mean, and, even pharma there for a while.
But I guess that kind of
like might want to get in the game.
Right, the breadth, because we've only have a confirming advanced decline line on the NASDAQ. That might have upped. I mean, I haven't technically looked at the breadth in 2 days, but NASDAQ was the best looking one. Again, yes, I can go back to semiconductors. Hate it or love it. I mean, it is what it is. Tech too. I mean, maybe it's only tech, maybe it's not, but that's the way the math works out. Pushes S&P higher, right? We can do what was it, 2021? And that's when we came up with the whole mantra started with, there's only 7 stocks pushing the market higher, and I think that might have been the year we actually came out with the MAGS acronym. Not we, but the industry, the talking heads. Right. Yeah, if you look at S&P advanced decline line, no.
Yeah, I mean,
actually technically lower since we broke out on the advanced decline line. Dow is rough.
Yeah, not great.
Weakest of the majors.
Small caps holding up pretty well.
They are.
I mean, actually today.
They are.
We can kind of clear like 278, 279, get a little bit closer to 280. I mean, that's
280, man. Remember we were just trying to get through 245?
for like ever.
Forever. Years of talking about 245. Feels good, man. Feels good to make it to this side of the island. Yeah, now we're consolidating above 270. Yeah, I mean, it's
But like even there, if you kind of look under the hood for small caps to find out like your higher contribution areas, right, over like the last month.
be tech, right?
Yeah, it's tech.
I mean, the small
Like
cap
tech,
is
semiconductors,
incredible. Okay.
and like biotech's still up there. I mean, which kind of makes sense, I guess. Like XBI is still holding up pretty well. And then you get in like your electrical products and stuff like that, which is probably, I think there's a good chunk of those that fit in like the industrials bucket on like the production side of that. But yeah, like regional banks really are going to talk about your bigger banks. Regionals really haven't gotten it together. Now, I mean, if you look through a lot of the individual charts for a lot of regional banks, there's, I don't want to say quite a few, but a good handful that, are at least earlier in the week were threatening to break out. And there's pretty big bases there too. But, so far that hasn't happened yet. But
all about that base, Megan Trainor.
Holy cow!
A reference for the. I don't know. Is that a
haven't thought about that one in a while.
Reference? Or technically, I don't
When
know.
did
Is
that-
Megan Trainor
when did
part
that
of
come out?
millennial pop culture? Who does she belong to? Millennial pop culture or Gen Z? Hey, look at this. S&P breaking out of this little consolidation as we speak. What about Bitcoin? So we've been talking about how hot tech is. Hot.
Mhm.
So the cryptos, yay or nay?
Yeah, getting some movement out of Bitcoin finally.
We are moving. We are above 74, let's call it 72, 70, whatever it is. 72 to 74. Yeah, but we have the downward sloping 200 day.
Right. Yeah, and I mean Ethereum holding up, but not really doing as well as Bitcoin. I guess like other cryptos, like Tron, I guess he'd like to see that hold like 32 cents. Trying to remember what some of the other ones were from earlier this week. I mean, that was the thing. Like earlier in the week, really crypto across the board, pretty much green. But like a lot of those individual charts look so bad. I mean, it's going to take quite a bit to make those look constructive again. So really, it's.
You don't want to buy Solana here? Hey, look at that. That's zero bounce. Zero bounce of Solana.
Yeah.
Stuck below 96. I'm not trying to be a
It's
Debbie
just chop
Downer
fest.
to those of you who own things like Solana.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Bitcoin looks constructive. Ethereum would be nice to get that going. I mean, they're at least, holding up for the most part. Like those, for a lot of your other coins, I mean, those charts just look so bad. They get hit so hard. I mean, really, for the most part, we're just trying to form bases down here, and you got to see if they can maintain that and then start participating again. Which I think it's kind of early to tell. I mean, Leo holding up pretty good.
Congrats to Leo.
Yeah.
See, when I look like at an Ethereum chart, and I'm not saying that we're trading on vibes, but that's like advancement from early February. I don't know, man. That just looks so lethargic and lame, and like we're just coming. It's just a counter trend move back to an area of polarity, and I think you can get short Ethereum here. Not financial advice, but I'm just saying, from a risk-reward perspective, you can maybe let it get to its 200-day, which is now downward sloping. I don't know if it gets there. You can do half a position down and half a position if it gets there or whatever. But
I mean, because really that 2400 to 2500 level, I mean, it's not necessarily the cleanest in the world, but I mean, that's kind of a level it's definitely wrapped around for quite a bit. Really on both sides.
Yeah, even going back to 2021.
Yeah. Yeah, and even on Bitcoin, I mean, you could see them buy it up closer to 80,000, and then, I mean, it might take a little bit to clear that. I mean, you're getting pretty close to your 200-day there.
You get up into the 200-day. Yeah, I don't know. It does not look. Maybe the best way to put it, This doesn't strike from a price action perspective. And then look at the volume. I mean, the volume has died off during this advancement. From a price action perspective, this does not strike me as accumulation. That's probably the best way. I'm not saying it can't go higher. I mean, you don't have to have, I mean, you do need more buyers than sellers. That's math. Yeah, it just doesn't strike me as people stepping in, like serious institutional buyers stepping in and saying, yeah, we want to own this.
Outside of Michael Saylor and strategy or whatever
I mean,
they
a
call
lot of
them.
these bottoms, if you go back to Bitcoin, how many of these bottoms, yeah, they base for a little bit, but they get started with a pretty strong, like 1 to 2 day move. Almost all of them.
Right. Yeah, which is not really how Bitcoin's doing. I mean, just kind of trying to grind higher at this point. So, yeah, definitely not out of the woods yet in crypto land.
Are we out of the woods in the stock land? I mean, I guess.
Well, I mean, not really.
Are we?
I mean, guess it depends what.
Yeah, how you define stocks, quote unquote.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to be.
S&P's there. Nasdaq is there.
I
It's
mean,
the average stock.
how bearish can you really be at all-time highs?
I mean, look at the NYA. It's probably what the average person's portfolio feels or looks like. It's completely stalled out over the last 5 or 6 trading days.
I mean, really, that's a pretty good average look, I think, for a lot of what you've seen in just your sectors.
Yeah, I mean, like look at
industries
like,
outside of
look at an
semis and stuff like that.
Not
No.
even an XLF. XLF did not get back above this is a right chart. XLF never got back above a 200 day.
No, at least didn't close above it.
Yeah, it didn't close above it.
Intraday, a couple times, yeah. But
Or like in XLI. Got here. I mean, XLI has been stuck for 2 weeks. Pretty decent. I mean, pretty decent movement off the lows. If you go back to March 30th, did outperform for that first week and then got stuck because everyone apparently has jumped on Semiconductor, I guess. I don't know. Anything else you think our listeners should know about?
I mean, I'd like to see junk bonds kind of pick it up here again a little bit. I mean, it's been a pretty good month of April for the most part. Kind of slowed down here as of late. Really kind of stalling around a 200-day.
Oh, credit spread.
Like J and
Fixed
K.
credit spread yet? I mean, those are going to take a while, aren't they?
Man. I mean, it'd be nice to see like J and K kind of come up here and test like $98 again. I mean, I would say this month it has seemed to be like a little bit more of those risk on areas, like your higher yield floating rate stuff.
Yeah,
been doing pretty
convertibles are
good.
fine.
Yeah.
Convertibles
for
do
now.
look good. Holy smokes.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Which those do seem to kind of go as tech goes for the most part a little bit.
that's true.
Curious to see what we're going to get out of the dollar. They were kind of buying DXY up a little bit the last couple days.
Guess as long as we're below 100,
kinda-
I'm probably not going to do
All right,
dramatic.
that's the main thing. Yeah. But like I would say, before like the last couple days, I mean, like your emerging market bonds and some of your foreign bonds, stuff like that have looked pretty good. That's pretty much if the dollar's getting bought up, those usually are on the opposite side of that coin a little bit. So we'll see.
Man, dollar, we are officially a year into this range. First time we broke below 100 was April 11th, 2025. I mean, April 24th, 2025. We were right here. 98.5, 99. So, I mean, that's good. I mean, I think I've always people have their thoughts on the dollar. I think a market that doesn't have to experience any foreign exchange jilts is a happy market. I mean, you want to keep the dollar in between 96 and 100. That's fine. I mean, it's when they get out of these ranges that people get so spooked, and you never know which.
Yeah, at least
It
just
could
get
be
some.
either. Oh, now we decided a strong dollar is good. Whatever.
Yeah, it's really probably one of those things where I just kind of want some consistency regardless of Oh, it's going to be a strong dollar, weak dollar. At
What
least
if we had to worry about like
have some consistency to it.
Forex, exchange rates? What if we had
Oof.
like a bunch of clients in Morocco?
That'd be tough. Would be tough.
They don't let us have foreign clients, do they? TD never did. Wasn't that a thing
Yeah,
for a little bit? Canadians wanted to be clients.
Yeah, I think there's some more hoops to get to jump through to do
Canadians love us, man. Client, like,
they're nice people.
dude, they love the ETF.
Mhm.
So shout out
They
to
do.
the Canucks,
Not the
not
team.
the team. They're in the
Not
playoffs
the
right now.
playoffs.
They got a few
I don't think they made it this week, did
NHL, or they got a few Canadian teams though in the playoffs. Ottawa made it. Didn't Ottawa make it for the first time in a long time or something?
they? Yeah, Ottawa's in there. Edmonton obviously is in there.
Yeah.
I mean, the big ones always, yeah, Montreal doing pretty good. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people still pissed off about the Maple Leafs, which I guess not being from Canada, I don't know this for sure, but I feel like that's
Their team. That's their Yankees.
U.S. equivalent to yeah, I would think. But all I mean, there's so much more spread out. I think they're really, yeah, I really haven't paid attention to the NHL playoffs too much. Wings couldn't get in, so that's unfortunate.
Ottawa made the playoffs last year and this year. I thought this year was the first time in a while. Last year was the first time in 8 years.
Well, for Buffalo, for sure, it's the first time in quite a while, so it's good for them.
I don't know any Buffalo players. Dominic Hasek, is he still playing?
No, like that's been quite a while.
I think he retired when I was like 9 years old.
Man, he played for a long time. How old was he when he finally gave it up? It's like we go on a rotating basis of every so often bringing up
15 years in the
Yager, too.
NHL.
He was 43 when he retired in 08.
Dude played till 2011. Holy cow. Is that right? Well,
Oh,
professional.
did he go back to? Oh, yeah, he went over to.
Russia.
Oh, he was in the. Yeah, for 1 year. He was in the. Well, I don't know what is. It's not really the Czech Republic anymore, is it?
He started off there. Yeah, what are they? Czechoslovakia?
I don't feel like that.
I don't
Changed
want to
not too
offend
long ago.
anyone. I don't know what's
No.
been going on in Eastern Europe, what their names are now.
Like,
No, it's
it's hard to say.
Czechoslovakia and what? Slovakia.
Hmm.
Yeah. But what used to be the Czech Republic?
So it's officially called. Is it Czechia now? It looks like?
Chechnya?
No, I think that's a little different.
That's different.
I think so. Or maybe.
Chechnya?
I think it's.
We're gonna offend so many people. We should get off this topic.
Oh yeah. Well, we're gonna have to. We'll study up on that
All right. Yeah, we'll study up. We'll be back
over the
next
weekend.
week.
Try to figure out what's going on in Eastern Europe.
Dave and Kevin will be back next week, and it'll be a whole episode on geopolitics, Eastern Europe.
It'd be really exciting.
So, S&P stayed above 7,000. That's the big key. Might not like the way it's being accomplished, given the lack of breadth. No, I mean, that can change, right? I mean, one big week from small caps.
You see semiconductors start consolidating a little bit, and everything else catches up.
But then microcaps have also been strong. So, I don't know. Yeah, look, play around in the microcap pool. I don't know. They're at all-time highs, holding up. Good relative chart. They're better in mega caps, aren't they? Didn't I have that in the relationship? Yeah. Yeah, you should own microcaps over mega caps. Anyways, we're holding. And until that is not the case, on the S&P, NASDAQ, Kevin mentioned the Russell 2000. Then we keep going. Russell 1000 also holding.
So speaking of Russell,
week for most stocks.
Right.
Healthy. It's not fun when you see the broad market going up, but I'd rather go sideways than give up. You look at Russell 1000. We're 13% off the lows. You want to go sideways and have it be annoying, or you want to give half that back? I know which one I'm picking.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Right there with you. Yeah. You know what? I mean, you mentioned Canadians like in ADPV. Probably a good spot to highlight that.
We should run with that. Speaking of ADPV, Adaptive Select, listed on the NYSE under ticker ADPV, helps investors access two of the most prevalent factors in markets, momentum and relative strength. Through proprietary identification methods, the Adaptive Select ETF attempts to own the strongest 25 large cap stocks when the market is in an uptrend, and since not all market environments are the same. Can you believe that? They're not all the same, Kevin. Adaptive Select
so.
seeks to prevent extended declines by moving to short-term bills and cash during market downtrends. Investors can find out more, including how to invest in ADPV, by visiting adpvetf.com or by calling 1-833-880-5200. Investing involves risk, including possible loss of principal. Distributed by Quasar Distributors, LLC. You think anyone's ever called that number? I've never been informed of anyone calling that number.
Probably to make sure it works. Maybe once.
I think we did, yeah. When it was first set up, we called it.
Right. Make sure the phone line's plugged in.
Yeah, so better week for the ETF for sure. Back on track, back above the 2000, kind of like last year. Kind of took a week to get the wheels spinning. Yeah, that's that. Have a great weekend, everyone.